Hey friends, what's going on this morning? Well, I tell you what's going on here is a bunch of crappy weather. It's like it seems like every day we get like a half of an inch of snow, but it's just colder than you know what. Anyway, what I wanted to show you guys this morning is an idea I had for marking out axe handles. It involves a marking gauge, and when I lay out an axe handle, I'm basically laying out the center line and the thickness line of the handle, thickness this way. What I'm going to bandsaw off before I start shaping the axe handle. This is an old Stanley number. It says 81. I'm guessing it was made in maybe the 60s or early 70s, something like that. But it's graduated. I don't really need this, but it's really nifty. It's got like a. This is Whoa! Doesn't help to drop it. It's got a plastic thumb screw. It's threaded. It's got a little fence and then a little cutter. Now, I don't want the cutter because that's not going to really show up. It's not going to really show up, and I need something that I can see on the bandsaw. And I even got to the point where pencil lines really didn't show up very good and started to rub off. You know, the more they were going across cast iron, they would rub off. So I finally came up with the thinnest Sharpie that they made. So anyway, I don't know, you may have seen this. I posted this on my Instagram account. So basically I just traced what the old one was and made it out of walnut. Obviously they don't make a plastic insert, so what I did was, or a plastic thumb screw readily available, I couldn't find one, so I went to actually Lowe's and found a brass insert that I drilled a hole and used epoxy and then threaded it into the wood. You have to be really careful because that's really, you have to be careful because this is real thin in through here. So if you don't have the right size hole, you can just explode that and then mess up all the work that you had. The problem that I'm having with it right now is those marks in the wood. Now I know I can take this thumb screw because the way it comes off of the machine at the factory, it's not perfectly flat, but I still think it's going to leave indent marks in it. So what I'm going to get set up to do is I'm going to take this piece of flat steel stock. I thought about using brass. This is like 1/8 inch flat stock that I just had laying around. And I'm going to inlay this into this little trammel or whatever it would be called, so that this doesn't get all botched up over time. So that's what we're going to get set up to do this morning. So, yes, I could do this on the big router table, but I don't really feel like it's necessary. Going back to my old little trusty simple router table. I'm going to take a 2-fluted mortising bit and I'm going to get my height just right. Probably leave it just a scant bit, the steel a scant bit proud here, and then sand it flush. Not sure yet. But anyway, I'll get this set up and we'll go from there. Hey, okay. I wanted to take a minute to show you this little router table. I think this is, like I said, I think I've said before, this table was given to me, and it is nothing special. You can see it's just steel, sheet steel, pressed, and you know, nothing spectacularly spectacular. for lack of a better, you know, I mean, it's morning, folks, and yeah, the words, I'm struggling for words. The thing of it is, though, is it, you know, the thing that they did get right is the center hole is centered on the square. It does have a slot for some sort of a miter gauge. I just got some clamps, and I'm going to clamp this to the bench. You can make yourself a little, you know, you can screw it to the table if you need be. It's a really, it's not like somebody had to really think this out. And you can make yourself a box and do this. I'm sure there's plenty of, you know, small router table things on YouTube, Google, plans, whatnot. The reason I like this was because I didn't have to build it. It was free, and I just kind of took it from there. So enough of this. We're going to get the router table set up, and I'll meet you back at the router table. Well, friends, you know what? I decided, I stopped the camera when this thing wouldn't turn on, and now that I'm into this, I think I'm gonna just show you. Why not? This is what goes on in a shop. Whether it's a large shop or a small shop, you run into stuff like this. This particular router is one of my original ones that I bought, so that puts it at about circa 92, 93, and the little rubber dude that was helping with the stress on the cord here at the machine at one point in time, the rubber dried out and it cracked, and so it was just like here. So it's got a short in it somewhere. I did some troubleshooting. At first I thought it was the extension cord, and then because I plugged it into the wall over here and it fired, and then I went and got a different extension cord and one that has a light on it, and then it didn't fire, so it's something else. And we're hoping it's this cord here. Now there is a little bit of a caveat here. I'm going to shorten this cord to about 10 inches to a foot, because this D handle, the router that comes with this D handle has that, because it plugs into the top of the handle. I don't know why. I guess it's so, well, I do know why. It's so you can utilize the router more, which is a good idea. The only thing is you have this plug and a cord sticking up. If you've got a long cord, then you've got this much cord that you have to deal with, plus the cord on the router. So that's what we're doing with this puppy. It's not going to affect its use in the router table. It's just going to be short. So there we go. I'm going to cut this here and then wire nut it here. I'm going to try to utilize this. I'm hoping that the short is right here. If it's not, my landlord runs a tool service center, and I can go up and get a new cord. I don't want to buy a new cord because I'm going to end up cutting 2.5 feet off of it. So we'll see what happens. Well, excuse me. We'll see what happens. Talk to you in a minute. Okay, we're back.
are just tanks. The housing is a combination of cast magnesium and an aluminum, a machine turned aluminum billet. The armature and the motor is just so nicely done. The brush housings in here, solid brass. I mean, come on, Porter Cable. Bring that stuff back to the U.S. Of course, Porter Cable doesn't own Porter Cable anymore. Pretty sure Black & Decker owns Porter Cable now, and they own DeWalt, and they just own everybody. And so, it's just the way it goes. So like I said, if you have a chance, if you're looking for a router, a workhorse, and you don't mind cords on your tools, that's a video. That's a video. Corded tools versus battery tools. I'm not 100% sold on tools going completely cordless. It's more like a time and a place. You know what I mean? All right. Let's give it one more test. Watch the cutter. I haven't even changed the brushes in this thing. I mean, what the heck? So I'll now put this, when I'm done with this, I'll put it in the D handle at the end of the scenario, and you can see what kind of setup that is. Really, all you have to do is this number and that number, and let's see what we got here. Oh yeah! I'm going to reclamp. Oop, not there. Okay. Remember, eyes and ears. Okay. These guys got to go back. And they're home. And now, can we get back to woodworking, please? Can we get back to woodworking?